from MNNIT Allahabad. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Harshji.
Uh, I thankful for you to accepting our request for this expert lecture. Let me introduce Basant sir. And Dr. Basant Kumar received a Bachelor of Technology degree in Electronics and Instrumentation Engineering from BIT Jhansi and Master degree in Communication Engineering from Birla Institute of Technology, Pilani in 99 and 2002 respectively. He received his PhD in Electronics Engineering from Indian Institute of Technology, BHU in 2011. His area of research includes medical image processing, telemedicine, medical instrumentation, medical image compression, digital watermarking, and data hiding. He has published more than 75 research papers in reputed international journals and conferences. He filed 3 Indian patents and co-authored of book titled Medical Image Watermarking and Application, published by Springer. He has been the recipient of the Sir Visvesvaraya Young Faculty Research Fellowship awarded by Department of Electronics and Information Technology, Government of India in duration of January 2018 to September 2020. He has supervised 4 PhD and 25 MTech theses and more than 55 BTech projects in the area of medical image processing, data compression, watermarking and communication. Currently, he is guiding 4 PhD students. He is currently working as Associate Professor in Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering, Motilal Nehru National Institute of Technology, Allahabad. He has more than 15 years of teaching and research experience. So now I invite Basant sir to kindly share his experience and also guide us for future perspective of the engineering research, basically simulation based in engineering research. So Basant sir.
Okay. So thank you, my good friend, Dr. Hars. And good morning to all my dear colleagues and friends at KNIT Sultanpur. We have been missing you, and we are not able to visit each other's place because of the prevailing situation. And good morning to all the participants. As my friend has already introduced me, let me share a few things before just starting my talk. When I got the invitation of just delivering some lecture which may be relevant to this program, so I told my good friend that I'm going to deliver something very uh, based on my experience, which may be fruitful to the some of the participants, some of the researchers. And that's why I selected the topic, a practical approach to engineering research. And deliberately, I have not used a single reference for my talk. I just thought of just recollecting all my experience or journey of conducting or doing research, and uh, in the in that journey we reached to some of the conclusions, some of the things that did not work, and we kept on learning through our experiences. And I thought it would be a good idea to just share with our colleagues, budding researchers. So yesterday night only I was talking to Dr. Hers, and I was just talking to inquire about the participants, who are the potential, who are the participants, because it is very important for a speaker to know your audience. And since I I'm very comfortable at KNIT Sultanpur. I have visited so many times. So my first idea is that I will be surrounded by my colleagues and some of the students or some of the nearby faculties, and most of them knowing to me, and I will be very comfortable in delivering whatever I want to deliver. Then I came to know that the participants are from all over the India, and they speak different languages. Because being in this Hindi heartland, I thought of just speaking in Hindi also, and making this very informal. So I came to know that there are many participants or audience who are already PhD, and many are doing carrying out serious research. So I was bit hesitant, and I had to get up early in the morning to just give a proper finish to some of the slides which I prepared yesterday. So, but since I am true to myself, and whatever I am going to share, my experience, that is my personal experience, and I have a strong conviction for those things. So some of you may agree, may disagree, or may think differently on the same topic. There is no issue. But whatever I experienced, I would like to share. So let me go to my slides. Not very important, but at least that will give me a good indication what are the things that I have to cover. So I hope my slides are visible now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
so
sir.
the top. Okay, thank you. So as the topic is a practical approach to engineering research, and I have not used any reference, so nothing formal I am going to talk, and nothing formal I have referred. So it is very challenging. I am very I have some doubt in my mind how it will go, but yes, I am truthful to myself, and hope you will like it. Now, my brief profile, as already told you by my good friend. So my research area includes biomedical signal and image processing, telemedicine network, medical instrumentation, digital watermarking, and data compression. But you should not be afraid of that, because I know that I have taken the input that people from different engineering backgrounds are the audience. So I'm not going to focus on my research area. I will be just focusing on general things. Okay. Now let us start with the term research. Now when we just say research, so first thing that comes in my mind, or I just what I did while just preparing the slide, I just went to the Google, and I started searching for the proper definition of the research. Then I had to hold myself back that no, I have to just I have to refer nothing from any material. So I just left that. Now the research, when I say research, research itself is very confusing word, and different people will have a different perception about research, and that you can figure out by just looking at your colleagues. If you are faculty, you just look at your colleagues in your department or your institute, and you will find that the different person will have a different approach towards the research. Can somebody confirm? Is my image also visible?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
No, sir. Video
Okay.
is not. Yes. Now.
Okay, because when you are delivering a lecture, some gestures and postures are very important. So if my video is visible, that's fine. So that will just assist me in a better way. Okay. So okay. So what we find that many of our colleagues or many people just think that they will say that you are doing research or I am doing research, as if the research is of some outcome. So what I perceive, and some people you may find that they are just busy in just publishing papers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, and they just keep on doing mindlessly. Then what is the outcome of the research papers they are publishing? So they will keep on publishing. Some people are struggling. They are just doing something, but they are not able to write papers. They are not able to communicate. So different people perceive this research differently. So what I conclude, or what I feel now, or what I have concluded, that the research is not the outcome, because many of us may take this research as outcome. But what I felt, or what I understood, that research is some tool. Research is some mechanism, some method to get some output. So if I just since I teach signal and system, and if just a minute. Okay, so if I just wanted to use my pen over this or annotate this slide. Pointer options. Let me do it, because this is another experience. So if I take this research as a tool or some system, so there should be some input, there should be some output. So the input, what I feel should be the input is the problem. Some problem. Problem is the input. I think writing is very, because it is okay. Then output may come in the form of some product, some service, some knowledge base, or means some scientific conclusion I can make. So this is the research is the tool. So this is my perception. Now who does the research? Now if you take this is a very generic term and everybody does the research. You can take the example, suppose I have to purchase a mobile phone today. I purchased my last mobile phone, I think 3 years back, and I'm not able to remember the name of that mobile phone. I have to just, this is my means nature. I have to just go to the device specification and just find, it is a Vivo mobile, but which version I'm not able to remember. So if I have to purchase a mobile phone today, I have to do exercise. I have to do a research. So what are the things that, so last time when I purchased a mobile, what I was looking at exactly that I remember, because the problem I was facing with my previous mobile was the battery was discharging very fast. Then memory was filling up very fast, because if you are a casual, you don't take time to delete the images, or because images and videos will be keep on coming. So I had two requirements. One was the memory, and other was the power backup. And that was my criteria. And I just some of the students, I asked them to just choose a proper mobile and just tell me, and they come up with this. And my mobile, this Vivo, is living up to my expectations. Power backup is good enough, and I have not faced any problem of the message that delete your this thing. So that's good for me. So so suppose I have to purchase a new mobile today, means I will be looking for different features. Generally people look for these features, and in addition you may look for the camera quality. Then you look for resolution, and maybe some other features. Maybe somebody told me I had one mobile phone for just which I purchased with some other fundus camera. So that is iPhone 6, and somebody told me, my student told me that it is not compatible, or Bluetooth is not embedded, because I was just trying to use that for just transmitting some of the medical images to a laptop, and that too wirelessly. So my student told me that that feature is not available. So research. So this is the one example. Now, if you talk about any business, if you want to just set up some business, what is the market? What is the psychology of the people? Everything has to be researched. You take the example of news, print media, electronic media. If some story is there, some dedicated person or the journalist has to do research for that. Now, if you are just trying to just avail some services, like just if you are looking for some service from cell phone services, or suppose you are trying to purchase, you have a requirement of one SIM card. So you will inquire about the type of service or the quality of service which is being provided by different service providers, or cell phone providers, or cell providers in your locality. Right now, the Vodafone is giving a very poor service in Allahabad. Means I don't think anything to hide in that. And my original mobile number is not working properly. That is my problem. So one has to do some research. Means how much data rate which service provider is providing, which is just trying to take care of your quality of service. So all these things have to be researched. So research is very generic term, and everybody does the research. Even a lady goes to purchase some vegetable, so she has to just visit 10 shopkeepers to find a good one, or everyone does that, and select the best one. Okay. So to me, research is very generic term, and everybody does it. Okay. Now, since I think most of us are from academia, so in academia there is a good discussion, or what is expected of us is you have to contribute in academics and research. So it appears that academic and research should go side by side. Of course, it should go. And the research that we carry out as academician, we can call that as academic research. Okay. Now, many times you may be confused, because if you are, I'm talking about not about the persons who are just joined as a faculty, or who are just at the initial stage of their career, but when you are into this academic setup for few years, and you are doing academics, you are teaching classes, and then you are doing research, you have some PhD students, you have some MTech students. So at some point of time, means you have to just make a balance, or you have to see, means you have to make a balance between academics and research, or you have to find some harmony between these two. Because now let me share my experience. So I had a passion for teaching, and that's why I'm teacher. I'm proud of that, and everybody should be proud of what one is doing. And since it is required that you have to do the research, so I started like that only. And again, the research is also equally fascinating. Now, having done some research, what happens that you keep on just involving in the research. And what I figure out after 10 years, that research is like, I'm making a big statement, but that I felt. Research is like addiction. The more you do, more you will feel the thirst. So, so if you are more involved, so I started because I was bound to involve more in the research, and then I could figure out that I'm not able to devote substantial time in teaching, because teaching is again a very tough job. To become a good teacher, you may find many people around you who has published many papers, irrespective of, and sometimes you may doubt that how this person is going to publish so many papers, because publishing paper is maybe a tricky one also. There are many tricks of that also. But to establish yourself as a good teacher is a very difficult task. A teacher whom the student is going to remember for a long time, to become a teacher like that is very tough task. And that requires a lot of hard efforts, means lot of efforts. If you are just striving to become a good teacher, it is very difficult. That I have realized. Many institutes or many may think differently, but it is very difficult. I just attended one course of teaching pedagogy in IIT Kanpur way back in 2005. And the instructor in very first lecture told that a teacher has to, at that time he told, a teacher has to compete with Amitabh Bachchan and BBC. Now this is a very vague and very a wild statement. A teacher has to compete with Amitabh Bachchan and BBC News. And now this will just spark your mind. This will just give a spike to your mind. Means you will start pondering, or maybe you all are thinking right now that how the teacher can be competing with Amitabh Bachchan and BBC. Maybe some of you are ready with some answers also. So then he told that you have to, the delivery of the lecture has to be like Amitabh Bachchan. The way he delivers, you will hardly find anybody in the film industry who delivers the voice, the throw. You will not find anyone parallel to him. And the BBC had effort because of your content organization. The organization of your content should be like BBC. So teaching is a challenging job. Then coming to I was just discussing teaching versus research. So maybe what I personally experienced after involving some deep involvement with research, that if you are seriously involved in some research, maybe you have to spend some sleepless nights, because if you are stuck up with some problems, maybe you will not be able to sleep in the night. That problem will keep on coming, and different solution will keep on coming in your dream also. So you might have, many of you must have experienced it. But as a good teacher, if you deliver a good lecture, you are so satisfied that then you can sleep properly in the night. So this is my very personal experience. And then what I could find out, if you are involving very much in the research, and if you are trying to become a serious researcher, then what happens that you can be only researcher. You cannot be anything else, because you have to think in very narrow area. You have to just focus on that, and you don't do it deliberately. Research is, I told you, it is like addiction. It will just keep you. You cannot just come out of that once you are just deeply involved in that. So at some point of time, I realized that yes, my research part is getting much heavier, and that is affecting my teaching. So I deliberately, 1 or 2 years, maybe 2 years or 1.5 years back, I realized it, and then I just thought I have to just maintain some distance with research. Means I cannot give up. I equally love it, but I have to choose which is my priority. you have to set your priority, which is my first priority and which is the second one. Then I decided that the research academics is my first priority, and we have the mandate of that. Being in academics, we have the first mandate. We have the mandate that we focus on our teaching, and our research should strengthen our teaching. So that should be that is what I realized. I don't claim that everybody should follow it, because ultimately it is you who has to judge, who has to just make a balance. And it is maybe it may not be very correct, but we have been just expert of making this balance. When you are newly married, you have to make a balance between your wife and your mother. So we are trained to do that. So ultimately, I decided my priority that the academics should be the first one and research should be the second. But you cannot give up. It is like again it is so it is so fascinating that you cannot detach with this. ये वैसा ही है जैसे you can, if you have to give up some some addict person has to just give up that habit. So it is like that only. So yes, I'm not able to do it to the extent that I want, but yes, I am in that direction. And then so this is my personal choice, that research should be the second and the academics should be the first, and my research should augment the my academics, and my students must be benefited from the research. They must be trained, because that is our main purpose as a teacher. Okay, so I think I have given some deliberation on this academic versus research. It can be a topic of a debate. Okay, now, so when do we do research? When you go for research. So the simple answer is that being in academics, this is a requirement. So we go for the research. That is the very true answer. But when you do research, so what you are trying to do? So what I feel, or what I understand, we want to find solution or answer to some of the problems. So through research, we like to find solution to some of the problems. Now the biggest question is, what is the problem? What is the problem? Now this is a very big question. What should be the problem, or what is the problem? Now, so what I could find out later on, that problem is everywhere. We are full of problems. We are surrounded by problems. You just ask anybody, he or she is facing many problems. You will not find anybody saying that yes, everything is fine and I'm doing well and things around me are fine. Nobody will say. Only few people will say. So we are full of problems. We are surrounded by numerous problems. And if you just figure out those problems around you, and if you just try to find a solution of that, so what you will observe, that most of them can find solution through engineering research. All kind of problems from all domain. Maybe your personal problem, maybe some social problem, maybe your emotional problem, maybe problem related to your household, maybe whatever problem, maybe problem related to livelihood, any problem can find an engineering solution. Now I will just give some examples. Maybe I think 2 years back, or maybe one, I was going to the institute which is organizing this program, that is KNIT Sultanpur. So I remember that day. So 8 o'clock, I just started my journey with on a taxi, and maybe 1 kilometer from my house, there is a place and uh, we call it labor chauraha. Labor chauraha, and this is found in all cities, small cities or small places also, and big places also. Labor chauraha or labor circle, where you will find that in the morning lot of people are gathered there, and for looking for some daily job or daily wage job, maybe construction or something else, and some people will come and take them, and on the basis of that day's work they get the payment in the evening. And what may happen that many of them just keep on waiting there, and they have to go back to their home with empty hand. Means no job, no work for them. Maybe they cannot afford a 2 days or day's meal for their family on that day. Now this appears to be very inhuman and undignified. A person waiting for the job, some job, and some people will come, and if nobody comes, nobody takes him, or so he is not able to earn that day. So that is undignified. And so I was just thinking, I just started thinking. So it was in the morning, I started thinking, what could be the solution? Now you just visualize a solution. What I did I just visualize a solution. Now just visualize that a person who is working in this area, or who is willing to work, is sitting in his home, and at 7 o'clock he gets a SMS, because everybody is having, because we see a lot of construction workers around us. So a smartphone or maybe simple phone everybody is having, that is not the issue. Gets the SMS, or maybe he gets a call that yes, you have to be ready, you have this kind of job today, and the van will come and pick you up, and you will be just taken to the destination. And the person gets up, he just gets ready, and the van comes, picks him up, and takes him to the site. And so can it be possible? So it can be possible, and it can be very means if there is some service provider which provides this kind of service, or maybe he just charges 10 rupees from per person. That is not inhuman. If my dignity, my self-respect is protected, anybody can just pay 10 rupees for that. So it can be a very good social enterprise. And you will find, then I started inquiring from some of my friends in the city. Maybe they are builders also, so they always look for some skilled people. So providing a skilled person in the city or in any this kind of site is a very you will find a lot of people are involved in that, and they exploit the workers also. So if it is done in a very professional way, in a very systematic way, and with the use of the latest information communication technologies and the IT platforms, it can be a very good venture, very good social enterprise. Profit can be very less, but you can just understand the contribution of somebody in just running this. So there is a scope for research, there is a scope for a startup, there is a scope for doing business. And 5-6 years back, when a teacher feels very hesitant to sound or to pronounce the word business. They don't have a good perception about this word. So I had a similar feeling. But I just made few person. Then there are many initiatives of the government that you have to just encourage your students for startups. And when you start encouraging your students for a startup, you must, now the business is very important. You develop some technology and you don't have any business sense, technology is a waste. So for a teacher, it becomes very necessary to respect this word business. And it can be done in very dignified manner, very professional manner. And there is another word that is a social enterprise. So if you are enterprising and if you are doing for something for the society, it is benefiting the society. So I think so there is this word has to be respected by the teaching community. Okay. So you see there is a practical. Then the second thing that I faced the same day. So I found some dead animal in the on the road. You always find. Can there be some dignified solution for that, or can there be solution? Nowadays, there can be very simple solution. You just click a photo, you just send it to some site which is just addressing this issue, or some government agency which is willing to address, or which have set up a mechanism to address this issue. So your location and the image can be uploaded to the site, and the concerned authorities or nearby authorities can be alerted, and they can just send some person to remove that. Coming to your home automation, there are many. You will find that in foreign countries, when I visited some places, there are a lot of automations. Like if you are living in a society, nobody is there to open your gate when you are just moving out. You have a key, you have a remote, you just use that, the gate is open, you just go out, it will be closed. So there are a lot of automations which are required. Maybe daily you struggle with if you are just trying to just pump the water into your tank, and then it is overflowing. There are mechanisms, electronic mechanisms. There are mechanisms to just stop that. And if you are just installed that system, many times what happens, it is not working, and you are facing the problem, water is getting wasted. So now you must have seen there are construction workers around you. And they are just, suppose somebody is just trying to just they have the bricks on their head, and they are just putting the bricks or taking the bricks to the construction site. Now these kind of things you will not see in a foreign country, the advanced foreign countries. There the workers or the human, they have a lot of respect for the human, and there are simple tools which can just help it out, or which can do, if you have a small trolley, it can just take the bricks to the site. But no, you will find that in our place people are just lifting it, taking lot of burden, and so there can be, so you will find that there are many problems around you. You will find in our part in UP, Bihar, or you will find the milkman with a bicycle, and the bicycle has been converted into a bicycle is being used for just taking milk. So 2 buckets of milk, both the sides of the bicycle, to making balance. They just do some manipulation or some extent, some modification in the bicycle. Now those things you can find very innovative. In rural part of the country, you may find there are numerous of things which are very innovative, and they are there because they had the need of that. So once you have the need, once you have the problem, you will find the solution. So there are so many things in agriculture. We talk about, now suppose my agriculture field is there can be advanced or the latest solutions to all the problems which are faced by the agriculture, by the persons who are involved in agriculture. Like this part of the country is facing a lot of problem with the stray animal entering into your field and just destroying your crop. So can there be some modern solution? Unmanned guarding type of thing can be there. So if you think, there are solutions. Can there be a remote monitoring of the health of my vegetation? Yes, the wireless sensor networks are going to just do it, and it is being done in many countries. So there are solutions. Can some automated, now we'll see that the problem with the farmers, the mandi issue, and the government is going to procure the crops on the basis of the quality, and the quality is being decided by some officer. Can there be a transparent automated system for judging the quality of the crop? Yes. The introduction of Internet of Things and the image processing and the deep learning, so we can have some system which can automatically evaluate or assess the quality of the crop. So these are the research problems which are to be solved. So these are the problems we have thought of, and that's why I'm sharing it. Now the situation that we have been facing for last 1.5 years, you must have seen there was a huge problem. I don't think that we will be able to see a worse problem than what we faced in last 1.5 years. And then what you could find that there are very innovative solutions also. So what I want to say that there are numerous problems around us which are waiting for some engineering solutions which can be provided through engineering research. So again, I'm just trying to define or elaborate or describe the engineering research as, again, I have used my own words. As I told you, I have not referred any material deliberately. So it is engineering research, in my point of view, is an attempt to find solution to problem around us belonging to different domains. Because I have just demonstrated, or I have given the example, the problem can be of any domain, but you can find the engineering solution to that. Okay. Now coming to the engineering research. So when you think of engineering research, the most important is a problem formulation. If you are able to find out a solid problem, means I think you are halfway through. You are half done. So how to find a problem, or how to formulate a problem? Okay. Now, if I have to formulate a problem, research problem, so what I will do, I will look for problems which can have a potential solution, because I have already just demonstrated, or I have given example of many problems. Then I have to judge, am I competent enough to just, or I am equipped enough to solve this problem? So what I have to do, I have to look for the problem which can have a possible solution in my area of interest or expertise. So then I have to see myself that there are numerous problems, but I have to just figure out which problem I can take on based on my interest, based on my knowledge, based on the time I have devoted, or the degree I have obtained, or expertise I have obtained. So what you have to do, the first thing, very important thing, is you have to assess your interest. Maybe you are engineering field and your interest is a medical field. I will just come to the example. So how you can just relate, or how you can relate your problem with a medical field or some agriculture field? So assess your interest is very important. Then what is your expertise, and what is your knowledge base? That is important. Because if you are trying to solve some problem, then you'll have to look for the resources which you have, or which you can access. So what you have to do, you have to do some optimization. Now, what I think of this word optimization is that this is a typical attribute of an engineer. All engineers, they, in 4 years of their degree, they just develop this attribute, how to find the optimal solution. So if you have 2-3 constraints, then how to set your priorities, and how to make a trade-off, that is inculcated into your personality. So that is what I could figure out. Okay. Now I will just give you an example. I will just try to share when I just thought of pursuing my PhD or pursuing for research. So how what are the thought process that I had to go through, how we approach towards that. Okay. So when I completed my MTech, so I thought of it was always in my mind. I was very clear after my BTech that I have to go in teaching, and I have to pursue MTech from some good institute. So I got the opportunity to do my MTech in communication engineering from BITS Pilani. Then I deliberately wanted to discontinue. Means I never wanted that I should do my PhD in continuity, because that is my personal experience again. So what happened that suppose you are done with your BTech at the age of 22, MTech with 24, so you can go for a continuous PhD, and at maybe 28 you are done with your PhD. That's fine. But if you have some breaks, you have to struggle. So if you are doing your MTech and you are at 26, 27, so there are so many things you are looking for at that age. When you will be getting married, when you will be getting a job, when you will be just buying a car, when you will be just buying a flat. So means if you are just extending your study for a long time, maybe you start thinking like that. Or if it is not coming, things are not coming in time. So after doing my MTech, I was very clear that I love teaching. I have to start doing my teaching, and I have to get married. I have to settle my life, and I have to teach many courses aggressively. And when I feel saturated, yes, I have done some teaching, then I have to just look for PhD. Because what I feel that doing a PhD, it is not like until you are mentally free. More you are mentally free, better you are expected to do. So in 2001, I finished my MTech. I got married quickly, 2002. Then 2005. Then from 2005, I started looking for the PhD opportunities that I can have. And again, I was just trying for an optimized solution. And by the time I had a car, I purchased a car, I purchased a flat, I got married, I had a kid. So all these things were just, I just experienced all these things. I taught at least 9 courses. So I was teaching aggressively. I was looking for more courses, and they used to give me 3 courses. And I was willingly accepting that, because I wanted to just do away with I wanted to teach more and more, so that I can just saturate quickly. And I have a hunger for my research. Then from 2005, I started looking for the opportunities. And again, when you just think of doing PhD, so you have to assess yourself, assess your background, assess the resources at your disposal. Then you have to just find the best solution. So again, I was just targeting IITs. But again, I was afraid that IIT people, they will be running after you, and they will just making your life hell. So in many IITs, you get a feedback like that. So what is the other option? What is the optimization I can just reach out, so that my family and my research and the institution I join, it should be also of good repute. So ultimately, I figured out that IIT BHU is the most suitable place for me. Why? Because my father is there. He was employed in DLW Varanasi, so he is there to help me out. my wife belongs to Varanasi, so she is there. She will feel homely. My many relatives are in BHU, so I will feel comfortable. So this is how I figured out that yes, I have the IIT BHU is the right destination for me, and it is good optimization. And what I figured out, I am proud of that, because I never felt like just means stressed, or I never had a feeling of stress in throughout my PhD. So now coming back to the technical topic. So this is also very important aspect, that when you are doing what, because it is not like that you join it and you just think of that yes, it will finish, then I will
Dear,
do this and
dear
that.
participants, sir,
Ha ha
Basant sir,
ha ha ha.
sir, dear participant, one more thing I want to add, that Basant sir also have that native place of Varanasi, and he also helped us during our hostel life. Lots of things they helped us as a native person of that Varanasi. So we are very thankful for him. Ji sir.
Okay, my good friend Dr. Harsh is very generous, and uh, I have to reciprocate, and in very true sense, that how much help he provided me in my journey to this PhD, because he is my guru bhai, and he was senior to me he is senior to me as a researcher, at least. Yeah. So, sir, is it going well, or I am deviating too much?
No, no, sir. No, sir. Very interesting and very
Okay.
informative.
Okay, so now coming to the topic, now that is very interesting. What is the topic that I had to decide? That I was thinking. Now, for some reason, I had a passion for medical field, and the reason is also prominent because when I was born, my grandfather from my mother's side, he started saying that "Mera nati doctor hoga." He will be becoming a doctor. So it was printed in my mind. So when I was in 10th class, I was very nervous that what I have to do. I have to become a doctor because my grandfather is expecting me to do that. But I never imagined myself. What was the problem? That I could not imagine myself as a doctor. I never imagined, I was not brave enough to imagine that I am a doctor and I am operating some patient in the operation theater. So uh, I decided that no, I'm sorry, I cannot fulfill your dream. I just told him, but I told him that your dream will be fulfilled. My brother will just take up that profession, and he will just he will strive to become a doctor. So what I did, I motivated very aggressively to my brother. I don't know, he was passionate enough, but yes, after some initial motivation, he was showing some passion, and I just kept on motivating him, and his passion fortunately grew up. And then he took this challenge that he will just try to become a doctor. I was relaxed. Okay, so as it happens that you prepare for either medical or engineering, maybe it was the scenario 15 years back. Now it is changing. We understand that we should give enough liberty to our kids to choose a proper career, or there are many options available now. So ultimately I have to go for engineering, and when I was in final year, I was very much confirmed. I was very much certain that I have to be in teaching line. So now coming back to this research. So I had a passion for a medical field, and in my MTech in microwave engineering course, I got the opportunity to as a part of the curriculum, you have to deliver some lecture, or you have to deliver some lecture on some topic. So I found some topic medical applications of microwave energy. There are ISM, there is one ISM band 1 to 2 gigahertz, and in that that is industrial, scientific, and medical applications. All equipments which are used for medical, scientific, and medical applications, they have to use that band. So then I just did a research on medical applications of microwave energy. So I was very happy to just relate my engineering with the medical field. So I was just looking for some kind of topic which is related to microwave or which is related to medical. But unfortunately, microwave was not my interest. Otherwise, I could have gone with that topic only. And so I was just started the Google. The Google was in the play by that time. So I just used to type in the Google communication, because since I did my MTech in communication, so I had to justify my expertise, my degree, communication plus medicine, something. So then I just found out one very fascinating word, that was a telemedicine. So I came across this word telemedicine in 2005, maybe means yes, 2005. Then I started exploring what are the ingredients in telemedicine. What is telemedicine? So I started doing research. So various communication technology at that time, 3G was not means rolled out, but it was there. 2G was there. We had a very limited access of data. Data service was very poor in 2005. So there are many scopes. There are many technologies, communication technologies, which were supporting this telemedicine. There are different models. There can be different models for telemedicine. So I did some initial research, and I just fixed this word telemedicine. Now in 2006, I went for my PhD. So through the interview process, I cleared that. And then when my guide asked that what will be your topic, so I told telemedicine. I had a very limited knowledge about the telemedicine, but I knew that I will be doing PhD on telemedicine. Now it is very difficult, because if you are trying to do PhD on some new topic and there is no fellow researcher who are working in this field, it becomes difficult. But I always had imagined that my guide should not force me. My guide should give me a free hand to do work on this topic only. And fortunately, it was there. My guides, I was fortunate enough to have 2 guides, and both were just backing me up for everything that I wanted to do. So interest is very important. Whatever expertise you have, that is secondary, but interest is very important. And interest, then I decided this, I have to go for this one, telemedicine. And और एक चीज मैंने आपको कहा कि प्रॉब्लम सबसे देखिए बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है. प्रॉब्लम अगर आपके पास, अगर इफ यू आर फेसिंग सम प्रॉब्लम, whether or not you are equipped to solve that problem, if you are facing problem, you will find some solution. I will just share a simple story, a very interesting story. Stroger was the person who invented this electronic exchange, telephone exchange. Now he was not connected to electronics anywhere. He was a shopkeeper. He was a shopkeeper of a coffin shop. Now what he could discover, that his business was dropping down alarmingly. Then he could find out that there is a competitor of him, and he has got some link in the telephone exchange office, which was manual, and the call which was directed for him, the operator used to just transfer that call to some other shop, and his business was suffering. Then he just thought of he figured out this problem, that how to just make it automatic. And he just I don't know what he did, and but his problem was fixed. So he could just invent electronic exchange machine, electronic telephone exchange. So most important is problem. Once you have figured out the problem, you will find out the solution. That is for sure. And many inventions have taken place. This was the one example. So coming back to our thing, the other important thing is that the interest is very important. Now let us come to make our domain more narrower. Now coming back to the objective of PhD, objective of doing research. So people start with PhD, because once you are PhD means you have the license, you have the right mind frame to do the research. This is what I think about a PhD. This is my conclusion about the PhD. So once you are PhD means you have developed right mind frame. Means it is not like that you have discovered something, or you have invented, or you have contributed huge to the research. That is not expected. But what is there, that you are trained to do research. You have the training of doing research, and you have developed a proper mindset for doing research. That is the I think objective of the doing PhD that I could just discover later on. Okay, so so before formulation of the problem, choice of guide, choice of the university. I have already told you how I chose, why I chose IIT BHU. Then the choice of the guide. Yes, if you are interested in some field, if you are just if you have narrowed down your field, so you have to look for good guide. Now now come to the problem formulation for PhD. Now there can be few scenarios of problem formulation. Now the first scenario is access to a strong research group. Now suppose you have joined some institute, you have been allotted some guide, and that guide belongs to some strong research group. Maybe 25 students are working in that area, and there are a group of faculties, maybe 4 or 5 faculties working in that area. So there is a strong group. Now I take the example of IIT BHU Electronics Department, that there is a Center for Advanced Studies in Microelectronics. Center for Advanced Studies in Microelectronics. Now that group, I think there must be, when we are doing PhD, at least 20 persons who are doing PhD at that time. I think right now there are more PhD students who are doing PhD in that section, and there are 4 or 5 faculties who are just working in that area. And right now the 3rd generation faculties, I think the B.B. Paul, Professor Great B.B. Paul was the first person who started it, then carried by some other eminent professors. Professor S. Jeet is working very hard and has worked a lot. Many of you who are from electronics field must be knowing his name. Then Professor P. Chakravarti. So there are a lot of eminent researchers who are belonging to that section, Center for Advanced Studies in Microelectronics, Electronics Department, IIT BHU. Now these people, they have not, now they are considered as big researchers, because they have the seniors have passed the baton to them. So they have been groomed under some experts, some eminent researchers. And right now, I think the 3rd generation, sometimes we find that the 4th generation, 4 generations are working, or 4 generations have worked in that area. Now, what is the advantage of that? So if there is a vast knowledge heritage, Now see, I could dare to just coin this word knowledge heritage. I have never found this word anywhere. I have coined myself because I established a school that is called Mahamana Knowledge Heritage School. Now the word, now heritage means that there is a heritage of knowledge which I am just inheriting. So in such groups, because what happens that when you work in some area for 5-6 years, then only you are able to find some good problems. Finding good problems, I told you that this is very difficult. Now if you have joined some big group like that, so there are a lot of problems because people are working in that group for 20 years, so there are a lot of problems. They are exposed to a lot of problems, so you don't have to do, you have to just go through the motion. You have to swim through the river, go through the flow. You don't have to do much because problem is well defined, knowledge base is there. There are a lot of infrastructures which have been created by the seniors, so you can utilize that and you can just grow up very quickly as a researcher. So these are the advantages of having access to such groups. So what happens in that? There is a strong peer learning, sharing, and interaction. Now, when some new researcher or new students joins, so he is just attached to just a person who is just going to pass out or who is about to complete his PhD. So a person who is about to complete his PhD, so suppose he has solved 4 problems, so he is exposed to at least 10 problems. He is knowing many problems, which is very much related to his work. So and he's also knowing what are the technical background, what are the tools that you have to learn, what are the mathematical backgrounds which are required, what are the theoretical background which will be required. So a senior can quickly train you. If a senior trains you for 15 days, it will be equivalent to 2 years if you do it alone. Now I have been using it in my institute, in the BTech projects also. I am just trying to just, if one group has solved some problem, I just put an interface, or I just make them interact with the newer group or their juniors, and they pass on everything, the codes, the knowledge, everything, and the junior can build up on that problem. And maybe in second hop or third hop, the work becomes very prominent and it is able to be recognized as a good publication or some patent. So I have been just experimenting that. Okay, so what is the benefit? If you join, if you have access to some strong group, the benefit is that quick and good research outcome. But there is a limitation. And limitation is a limitation of what I'm not able to read, but yes, limitation that as a researcher you have limited grooming. That is the drawback. Means you, as a researcher, what you are expected to explore in different direction. You should be open-minded. You explore different things, but you just don't do that, and you have a limited grooming as a researcher. So the example I can give you that one of my colleagues delivered some lecture. He was from that group which I am referring, and I am from the. I am just not falling in this group. I have a different. My problem formulation was done through different scenario. This is the scenario, the second scenario. So second scenario can be, you decide your research domain. So I decided that I have to go for telemedicine. Then what you have to do? You have to refer to some latest papers, different domains that covers or that is covered in telemedicine. Also, there are different aspects. There are signal image processing aspects. There are wireless network aspect. There are medical image processing aspects. There are data compression aspects. So I just figure out different domains, And since I hate coding. I don't love coding, and means I got many opportunities, but don't like coding, and I don't have I don't think this is a very uh, you will find lot of coders around you. So there is nothing. I don't find any this thing matter of pride, or I'm not able to use the proper word, but I don't held very high to the coders, because you will find lot of coders around you. So I thought that I will not go for this thing, wireless networks and all that. So image processing, signal processing, these are the good areas. And my seniors, Dr. Hers was working on image watermarking. So I think I thought I could have some help from him. So I just focused on that. Then you have to just go for the latest papers. You have to figure out the problems. And the best problems are, and you will find some papers where the future work is written. So these are very tricky things. So you just look for some papers where future works are clearly mentioned. So just if you just find that suitable, you just you can just work on those future works. So in that way, in this way, what you can do, you can consolidate your problems. And once you consolidate your problems, and once you have gone through maybe many papers, 50 papers, 60 papers, and the other thing is that you don't require to read those papers, because it is very difficult to read a research paper completely and understand that completely. So in initial phase, you have to do some first time screening, that which paper is appealing to you. Then you have to figure out some papers, come down to 5-6 papers, then just focus on 1 or 2 papers. And ultimately, if you find 2 papers or even the 1 paper which is very interesting, which is appealing to you, so I think you are very close to formulating a problem. So figure out the most important paper. And I am talking all these things keeping in mind that there are many audience, many participants who are just willing to pursue their PhDs. So they can just maybe these things can help them out. Okay, so if you are just in second scenario, conventional practice, so you have to just narrow down to the most important paper, and then you have to read it many times. So all the fellow researchers who are listening to the lecture, they must have experienced that they just come down to 2-3 papers, and you will find that paper is referred maybe 50 times throughout the PhD work. और आप देखोगे कि हर एक के पास एक बहुत ही पुराना सा पेपर, उसको देख के आपको लगेगा, by seeing that paper you can notice that this paper has been treated very badly, just highlighted every line, and very in distorted condition. So every researcher, every PhD student has 2-3 papers like that. Okay, so this second scenario, I deliberately I prefer this second scenario, because this gives you, there are limitations that you take time to formulate the problem, and your problem later on you may realize that your problem is not very good. That is also there, but it gives you a lot of opportunity to explore the things. You explore in much wider domain, so you know the things in much wider sense. So that is good. It sets a good base for building up much stronger platform, and giving you a 360-degree look. So this gives you a 360-degree look to the research. Now the third scenario, I'm talking about for problem formulation. The third scenario is just take up some original problem. Now it is very difficult for a PhD student or young researcher to just think in that way and take up some original problem. I just remember one incident. I was referring to one professor. I was referring to the paper of one professor from IIT Roorkee, Professor Binod Kumar. He works in the field, my field. So I was referring to his paper. Then I mailed him one day, and I was struggling to formulate my problem. So I just mailed him one day, the sir, can you just share some good problem in the field of medical image processing and all that? So he just replied me in one line: visit nearby hospital, BHU hospital, and interact with the doctor. Now, at that time, it was very difficult for me to interact with the doctor and visit that place, because doctors, if you don't know them, they are not able to entertain you, particularly in the working hour. So I just ruled out, because I didn't have the resources for that. And I could not believe also. I could not believe that how a doctor will be able to give me the right problem or some practical problem. So, but later on, I will say that what later stages I started this practice. So then what I did, I just met one of his PhD students, Professor B.B. Giri, who is in Madan Mohan Malviya Technical University. So I just visited that place just to consolidate my problem, because I was referring to his paper also. So I went to him, and he was generous enough to give me one hour time to just explain me the ECG compression kind of thing. He has an ECG classification. He has a paper on that. He gave me 1 hour. I have still his notes available with me. Yeah. So you have to just, if you are looking for original problem, you have to meet people. You have to interact. But of course, I could not find or could not consolidate a problem through these channels. So I had to follow the scenario 2 only. So now, having done some research in the area, I could figure out that what the best I can do, or what is the best I can contribute, is computer-aided diagnostic through image processing. Now, what is that? I will explain in very simple. Now, if you have a lot of medical imaging, X-ray, CT scan, MRI, and a radiologist ultrasound, and a radiologist will see that, and it will be able to figure out the diagnosis. It will just able to diagnose. So by seeing, he is looking for some features, diagnostic features. Now, same thing is now possible with the computer vision. If the computer vision embedded with the deep learning now today, and at my time, the image processing, medical image processing, if through medical image processing, medical segmentation, I am able to figure out, or I am able to just figure out those diagnostic features from the image. And so if I do that, I can make an intelligent system. I can make an intelligent algorithm which can automatically find out or diagnose some diseases. Or if I am able to develop some algorithms which can be very handy for some telemedicine applications in rural area. Like if I worked a lot on the images, eye-related diseases. Now, suppose if I develop some algorithm which can be used in suppose some rural area where it is used for the mass screening of cataract disease. Suppose I capture the image of the eye, and my algorithm is able to tell whether the person is suffering from, or person is having a cataract or not. So I think it has got a significant contribution, because in one district, if you are not very near to the city, so like Varanasi or some 3-4 districts around it, and then you just move away from the cities, then you have some district where you will hardly find double-digit ophthalmologists. I belong to Begusarai in Bihar, and I could figure out only 2 ophthalmologists in my district. Maybe now it has increased to 3-4, but certainly less than 10. And they cannot cater to a population of 20 lakhs, that is for sure. So So then I'm not means sharing a hypothetical problem and solution. This is a very practical problem, and we found a practical solution to that I will just demonstrate, or that I will just share. Okay. So later on, so once I decided, or once I thought that this is the area, computer aided diagnostic through image processing or medical images is the area where I can work easily with my resources. Then I thought of just interacting with the radiologist, interacting with the doctors, and getting the problem from them. The same thing which was suggested to me when I was doing PhD, I could not convince myself, and I had a limited resources, and I was not mature enough as a researcher. But later on, I just took it very seriously. Then I started interacting with the doctors. So now at this stage, I am clear that what is my research area, and I don't manufacture problems. I don't visualize problems. What I do, I approach to some doctor and I talk to him, and he will give me some problem. I visited, and in the process, I visited many hospitals. I interacted with many doctors. And one thing is very sure, that if you don't know the doctors, he will not give you the time. So fortunately, there are many people around me. My brother is doctor, so his friends and some of my relatives, they are doctors. So so I am fortunate to interact with some of the doctors. So 3 years or 4 years back, I visited this. I think I have to speed up the things. So I visited this medical college, which is there in BHU, IMS BHU. So I was interacting with the ophthalmologist who was operating the OCT. The optical coherent tomography is one of the imaging systems. So I was just introduced to him, and I went to interact with him. So he started, "What is your problem?" मैंने कहा, "Sir, I don't have any problem. I want to know your problem." So he could not understand. Then I told, "Sir, you just see the image of this coherent on this screen. Is there anything which you find fuzzy, which you are not able to figure out clearly? Any diagnostic feature which is there, which you cannot figure out clearly, or which you have a doubt in just calculating the length, or measuring the length, or something, measuring the volume, area, or something like that?" Then he understood. Then he gave me, he just told me quickly 3-4 things. There is problem in measuring this foveal length and this depression and all. And so he just gave me a few problems. I noted down, I interacted with him for 15 minutes. Later on, he just gave me some images. And then my research team kept on working on finding out some of the, that there was a case of macular edema. So how to find out the macular edema from the OCT images. So we kept on working for at least 3 years. So one student did his MTech on that. One student who carried out, who just continued with the carried forward work, and he's taking that as one of the PhD problems. So we kept on working on that problem for 3 years. 4 years back, I interacted with one doctor in AIMS, Professor Deepak Agarwal, very renowned person. And I didn't know him, but through some contact, I attended some conference. I just interacted with one person who was working on telemedicine, and that person introduced me to Dr. Deepak Agarwal. So I approached him. I took time, and I told that, "Sir, this is my area of expertise or interest. If you have some problem, you just give me the problem. I would like to solve that." So he gave me the one problem, and that problem was the measurement of optic nerve diameter through ultrasound image. Now he's in trauma center, AIMS Delhi, and there is a problem in automated measuring of that feature, optic nerve diameter, because when a person is having brain injury, the optic nerve diameter increases. So through ultrasound image only, it can be figured out that whether the person is having one parameter which is very fatal, that is called ICP, intercranial pressure. So he wanted me to just compute that automatically. So some of my students started working, and we just computed that automatically, optic nerve diameter. Then we just went to him, and I just showed him the results. So this is the result I am getting, and he was convinced that this is the better result. And so what happens that now any inexperienced, that because if you are just handling ultrasound machine, it means you require to be experienced. And that too, if there is something fuzzy kind in the image, so that requires a lot of experience. So I was able to find that problem or solve that problem. So later on he so told that you just go for patent, so we filed a patent. Then later on, recently, we have got a project on that. Now we have to develop a hardware which can just support that algorithm, and which can be operated from remote. So this is how we have a good interaction. We develop a good collaborative, or establish a collaborative work with the doctor from AMS. And then that doctor is a very techno savvy, and I would like to say that he is a
Basant sir, Basant sir, you are you are not audible, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now audible.
Okay, okay. Just a minute. Give me a couple of minutes. So is my slide visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I think I missed some of the things. So is it the right slide to start? Resources, required resources.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so I was talking that in long term it is beneficial to use open source resources, because if your research work is going to be converted into some meaningful services or products of some commercial interest, so it becomes mandatory that it should be using open source. Okay, so this I realized while working with some industry on some industrial problem. Now, as I have told you, that your senior who is working on the similar research problem, or who has worked on the similar research problem, is the biggest resource person. He is the biggest resource person other than your guide, or maybe means more valuable than your guide. So he can help you out a lot in everything. Okay. Now comes to the paper writing. So I am sharing it because through this journey we experience something, so I think it is worth sharing. So what I understand, or what I feel, what you should not wait for writing a long journal paper. Now again, it is a debatable, and many PhD, many faculties who are present may disagree. That's fine, but the natural, what I understand, the natural thing is that once you have done something, you have some result, conclusive result, go for writing the paper and start communicating. Because writing paper is again a very interesting skill, and it requires a lot of skills. And once you write something, your thought process gets more clearer. And if you write a small paper, you have got a clear idea about how to make or how to extend that paper, which can be material for journal. So that's for sure. So if you write a paper, research paper for conference, you can easily extend that for journals by producing more results in that line. So that is my personal experience, and that other person can feel differently, because people around me also, I see that they don't write paper for conferences, they write long paper for journals. So there are persons with different perceptions. So this is my perception, and I strongly believe this. So start with the short papers, start with the conference, writing review paper. Now, the writing review paper is a very tricky. And suppose you have some topic where already there are many reviews which are available. You hardly find what to just review. There may be the situation. Other situation may be having done some work, having devoted some time in finding different problems. There are so many problems which are coming in your mind. Your thought process is getting so many directions, and then I think you are good condition to write a review paper. So if you are getting puzzled with the problems you are exposed to or the learning that you have done, so you can go for writing a review paper. And the outcome of the review paper should be that you should be very clear about the problems which you are going to take up or solve during your PhD. So writing review problem is tricky. It depends upon topic to topic whether you go for or not. But if you are writing it, it can be very, very productive, and at the same time it is very exhaustive. So it is very tricky. Okay. Now some tips that I have just realized. whatever paper, conference paper, journal paper you are writing, you should be very clear about that. Even if you are making a delta contribution, you should be very clear about contribution from your side, because at least you have to contribute something. And if you are not able to figure out your contribution, now what happens that sometimes students, they come to me, then I ask, what is your contribution, a small contribution? They say, sir, nothing, I can just throw this paper. If you are not able to figure out your contribution, no need of writing a paper. So there must be some contribution from your side, maybe a small contribution. You don't require to make a change upside down, even a small contribution. Once you have figured out, you just emphasize on that in your paper. And whatever contributions you are going to make, it is good to just highlight that point wise. Your contributions are 0.1, 2, 3, like that, because any reviewer will look for the contributions. What is the contribution made by the author? So if it is categorically mentioned in the paper, it is much easier for a reviewer to make some decision. Then you have to just explain your methodology properly. Then come to the simulation experimental results. Now this simulation and experimental result is very important part. You should not be in a hurry of just showing the figures or tables and running away, because this is the typical attitude of a student, and maybe the early researchers also. So what you have to do, you have to take all your time to give emphasis to this simulation and experimental results. So whatever graphs, tables, figures you are putting there, you have to explain that properly, you have to interpret them properly, and you have to give lot of stress on explaining those things. So this is very important. Then the reviewers will look for the comparisons, where if you have able to make some comparisons with the recently reported results or not. So that is also important. And then the recent references. Then the reviewer, they go for the references, whether your references are very old, or means there must be some latest references. So if I am just preparing a manuscript in 2020, there must be some paper from 2019 in the reference. That is for sure. And all these things I did not learn or nobody told me. So I experienced this. I discussed with my peers. I had a problem. I got the reviews. From there, I have just concluded all these things. Then, now whatever research you are doing, how to assess that research, whether you are moving in or how to strengthen that research. So for that, there are few things which are very much required. One is research in networking. You must collaborate with the persons from different background, means interdisciplinary people from different organizations. Because you are living in one domain, and if you are just exposed to, or if you interact with some other institute, and if you just observe what are the problems which are being taken up, what are the areas people are working on, so that different kind of learning. If you visit some institute and you come to know about some important tool or some simulation tool, so that is a good knowledge for you. That is good enough for you. So networking, collaborative work with different organizations is very important. So that you must be able to share your research work with the others, discuss it with others, try to present it with others. So what happens that suppose 2 years back I got the opportunity to visit one lab in France, that was information processing lab at Brest, France. So I tried to what I did, I presented the works that I carried out till now, and they just listened to the work, and they just gave the comment, and they showed interest in just collaboration. and it gives you a good feeling that yes, you are able to present your work at national level or international level, or people are just showing their interest, or they are able to recognize that. So you can gauge your quality of work in that sense. So I have been, whenever I get opportunity, I visit different places in India or abroad, and I have the fair idea about my limitations, or some things, some tools or technologies or techniques that I come across which I can use, and other things are, there are many things which I have limitations because I don't have that kind of infrastructure. So you are able to gauge your work properly. And for that it is very mandatory, it is very much required that try to attend more and more research gatherings, try to participate in this kind of workshops, just not for just adding it to your resume, just out of interest also, that yes, because if you listen to somebody for 1 and 2 hours, at least you are going to pick up few words, and that can be a game changer for your future research work. So try to visit the conferences, because there you meet different people from different backgrounds. I have been doing that, and I have been benefited from that. And as I have told you, visit research organizations and institutes whenever you get opportunity. Now, what can be the outcome of the research? So research outcome can be in the form of a paper, research paper. It can be in the form of research patents. So patents can be Indian patents. So I have filed 3 patents, and how I have not been awarded any patents, still granted any patents, because I have not explored that. Because I think, again, I have to make some efforts to just see how it is granted. Then US patents. So then once you have done some research, then only you are able to prepare some research proposal. Unless until you do some research work, you have already done some research work, it is very difficult, or it is not justified to prepare some research proposals. Then the outcome can be in the form of some proof of concept, means you are able to demonstrate some concept. Then if it is hardware, you may be able to develop some prototype. And the last stage is the technology transfer. So if you have a patent, if you have a prototype, you can just interact with some company, and who are interested, potential, who can show interest in your technology, and you can transfer the technology. So I have reached up to this prototyping, and I'm looking for the technology transfer. Maybe I will take the next 6 months to explore that, and I will be able to do that also. Okay. Now about research projects. So many people write research projects. There are few things that I have understood, that you must have some research output related to your research proposals. If you are writing a research proposal, and if you don't have some initial results to show or to demonstrate, you can just augment that, support that with some research papers, some patents. So if you don't have that, so nowadays it is very difficult to get the research projects. Then what you can do, you can demonstrate collaborative work with other organizations. Now suppose my organization is not that much reputed or known. So what I can do, I can interact with some other organization which is a reputed one. I can do some work with them, or some interested group, and if I am able to demonstrate some collaborative work, then there is a strong possibility of getting some project. So this time, last year, I just wrote, I think, 3-4 projects, and it was rejected. Then I just had a review. What should I do? Then I just thought that let us just focus on what I have already done with some institute of bigger repute. So I just thought of the AIMS Delhi. So I just prepared the project around the work that we have been doing for 3-4 years. And fortunately, in that project, that was a biomedical device and technology development, it was mandatory that one PI should be from medical institute, and so it was easy for me to just pitch that, and fortunately, you got one project. So develop interdisciplinary research team with complementary skill set. ये चीज सोचना, if you think that everything I am going to learn, that is not possible. Once you are above 40, there is a limitation of the rate of learning that you can have. So if suppose I want to have machine learning expert, let us collaborate with the machine learning expert. So try to just focus on your domain and try to collaborate with the person with the complementary research skills or complementary skill sets within your organizations or outside your organizations. Now this is some of the things that I thought of, and I just took that to ground zero. So I told you that telemedicine word I coined in 2005, and 2017 I just established a telemedicine center at my native place in my brother's hospital in collaboration with a company from Finland, that is a Trinact. So that is the person in the t-shirt is my first PhD student. He is a Saswat Pathak. So he was the main resource person. So this I did in 17. I told you that we have been working on cataract detection system. So this again way back in 2015 and 17, we have a eye test camp using our device, which we filed patent also, and this is how we were able to take some of the research from the lab to the ground zero. This is the advanced cataract detection system, which was developed by my PhD student Saswat Pathak at Incubation Center at IIT Patna. Because Incubation Center is the one center which can help you in just giving a finishing to your prototyping, so, or the proof of concept. So that was my student, after pursuing PhD, joined this incubation center, Medical Electronics Incubation Center, and there he just worked on this device further. Then these are some of the things that we developed. Development of IoT-enabled low-cost management system for cardiac care. Then we have IoT-based fall detection monitoring and alarm system for elderly. Then my student Saswat Pathak started a startup called Electrocurie Private Limited, and he also launched his own telemedicine platform, that is e-Chikitsa. Then last year we just developed a smart medicine container, which will just ensure the medicine adherence to the elderly people, or because generally we forget to take medicine. So this is a smart medicine. It always reminds you when to take medicine, and it keeps a record which is cloud based. Or if you are not taking medicine, it will inform to the cloud to your caregiver. So these are some of the things that we have been able to develop at some stage. So all these things have the potential to be developed at a commercial level. The cataract detection system is already under trial. Then there are some other systems which are just trying to do that. Of course, we don't have a sufficient or enough ecosystem. We are struggling a bit. Maybe 1 year down the line, I will be able to find a proper solution for just finding a way to commercialize these things, or commercialize the things which are done in the lab. So still we are struggling at that end. So as I have told you, for this lecture, I have used no reference except just searching the spelling of some of the words. Then thank you very much for just giving a patient hearing to my lecture, and the questions. So if there are some questions, if I'm able to answer that, I will be feeling more happy. Okay. So I'm stopping my presentation, and I am open to any question.
Sir, good morning, sir.
Any question from the audience?
Sir.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Sir, how to choose journals for our, how to choose publications for our journals, sir? Correct publications.
Okay, so I think I missed some slide. I had one this thing slide for that. Okay, so yes, I remember how to choose publications. Okay, so what you have to do, I think I missed some slides. Okay, so now what you see, once you have prepared some manuscript, and then you use some references, maybe 20, 30 references for a journal, at least 20 references. Now the most suitable target journal should be one of the journals which are there in your reference. So look for your reference properly and see what are the journals which are, because they are the potential journals. And few of them are very much related to your work that you have surveyed. So those journals are the most potential targets. Right? That is one thing. Now, if you just think it other way around, means if you have written some manuscript and if you are trying to put that in some journal, then it is mandatory, it is almost mandatory informally that you have just cited few papers from that journal. This is other way around. Now, if you just come out few papers and you find that you have referred to IEEE transaction and all that, and some journals of much higher impact, now it becomes, so what you have to do, you have to assess your work. So what you have to do, you have to assess your work that where it can be published. How you can assess? Now it is better to just prepare a list of journals, potential journals related to your area. Because every time you prepare a manuscript and you just struggle, we still struggle. I just ask my student, wait, I will just tell you the journal. So it is good to prepare a list of journals with their characteristics, with their attributes like their citation index. If it is of very high impact, so what is the impact factor of that? What is the time that it takes for giving you the first review? So all these things can be prepared. So once it is prepared, so it is so you don't have to just do the same exercise, and then you have to assess your work. So at least if you have to put your paper in such a journal where your paper is reviewed, because getting your paper reviewed is very pleasant task. Even if it is rejected, last year my paper was rejected from IEEE transaction. Still I am not able to produce a paper for IEEE transaction. I am struggling. Maybe 1 year, 2 year down the line, I will be having that pleasure. But it was reviewed and it was rejected, and I felt very happy about that. So if your paper is reviewed, so that is that you get a good feedback, you have a good you get a good direction for improvement of your paper. So that should be welcomed. You have to gauge your work yourself, and accordingly you have to just choose the paper. Suppose you yourself feel that your paper is of not much worth, so it is not good to just submit that paper in some high impact journal. So this is how you have to just this is again very tricky, but this is how you can sort it out. Means bottom line is that whatever journal you are going to, means whatever reference you have used, they are the potential journals where you can submit the manuscript. And other way around is, if you are submitting some journal in some journal, that journal must be referred. And this is, I'm talking from my personal experience. So I think I have given you some insight of some answer.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Thank you.
sir.
Thank you.
Sir, why publishing in IEEE is becoming a very high task?
Very.
High challenging.
Now see, that depends upon many factors. And if you are not able, I have shared that, no, and means I don't have any, means some of my colleagues, they have papers, they have many papers, but I am not envied of them. So that is not the criteria, that if you have been able to publish some papers in IEEE, means you are a very excellent researcher. Because if you are able to publish that paper, generally what happens, that researchers, they may take pride from that. But that is not the only contribution of that researcher. As I have told you, if somebody from the lab that I talked, advanced studies in microelectronics labs, publish some paper in IEEE transaction, it is a very easy for them to do that, because ये जो वो, आप हिंदी समझते हो सर? Hello.
Sir, you talking? Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So ये जो है, so this is the vast knowledge heritage which is helping them. This is the deep research heritage that is helping them to publish the paper, because they are working on a very concrete and current problem, and so that is because of that only they are able to publish that. So for some people or some group, it may be very easy. My senior, he was working on the biomedical applications of antenna. He published few papers in that, because my guide was Professor S.P. Singh, was expert in that. So he exactly knew what was the correct problem and how to write a paper, what to do in that paper. So even an average person can publish a paper. That doesn't require, means somebody is not at least intelligent, or somebody is not a bigger researcher, if he or she is able to publish in transactions, because the credit is to that research group, whole research group, and the time which have been invested by their seniors, and the research knowledge base which they have been able to develop.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So any more question?
Any other questions from participants? So thank you, sir. It was very informative, and we learned lots of from your own experience. And it was very after a long technical session, it was very refreshing for us. So thank you again, sir, for this wonderful lecture.
Okay, thank you, Harshji. Thank you very much. It is always pleasure interacting from the forum of your institute, and I am missing your institute, and maybe soon I get some opportunity to visit your institute.
Sure, sir. We are also missing you, and all the other fellow faculty members of MNIT. So
yeah,
in near future, if situations are good, then we will invite you and also visit your institute, sir.
Okay. So I think it was a new experiment from my side, delivering something without reference. I don't know how it went, but I thought, yes, I gathered something which need to be shared, which I learned from my experience. So I hope that your time is not wasted, and you have got something out of this lecture. So thank you to all participants for your hearing. Thank you very much.